Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So with some recent news, things are really starting to heat up in Kaldheim. Get it? You know, a snow-based set, winter set, heating up opposite. Really funny, right? Anyways, that recent news being the Commander Precons being spoiled with the commanders that are leading them, as well as to the gods' names in the set potentially being spoiled as miniatures as well. And kind of with those gods, there's a lot of debate around what Norse gods we're actually going to see in this set, or I guess I should say, what magic takes on Norse gods we will see. Just like in Theros, we saw Greek gods from the Greek pantheon, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of the Norse gods show up as well in their own form, in their own magic form, I should say. So I did a little experiment where I just kind of made my own custom cards just to see kind of what, you know, these Norse gods might be. So let's jump into it. So let's start things off with probably the most obvious one first with Thor God of Thunder, a 3/4 god that costs 1 red, red, white. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for Mjolnir, Hammer of Thor, and put it onto the battlefield. As long as Thor God of Thunder is equipped, it has double strike. So yeah, basically Thor goes and gets you an equipment for free, an incredibly powerful equipment most likely with that hammer. And then Thor is going to have double strike when he's equipped with anything. So yeah, you can also run other equipment in this deck that are cheap to equip. You have get Thor into a position where basically you're hitting really hard. Again, just with, you know, an equipment that maybe doesn't, you know, give any power. He's already going to be hitting for 6. So if you can get any kind of power onto him, he's going to be hitting for a lot and be, you know, a 2 or 3 shot kill for most of your opponents. And yeah, with that hammer, can be a really powerful thing. And actually, you might recognize the art from this one if you've ever played Smite, and actually the other arts as well. Smite's a MOBA that showcases gods from different mythologies. So Norse mythology is definitely one of the ones in there. And yeah, some really cool artwork from that. Loki the Trickster God. If you've got Thor, you've got to have Loki, a 1/3 god with hexproof and skulk that costs blue, black, black. When Loki the Trickster God deals damage to a player, gain control of target creature controlled by that player until your next upkeep. So Skull can help get Loki through, hexproof protects it, and yeah, you can just start gaining control of your opponent's creatures. You know, maybe you're sacrificing them, you can use them to block. You may be, and with those sacrifice outlets, you're kind of gaining additional value from doing so. It's going to be hard for your opponents to keep hold of their best creatures when you've got Loki in play. So yeah, definitely could be an interesting kind of deck built around stealing your opponent's creatures and utilizing them in different ways. Next up, there's Odin the All Father, father of Thor. Anyways, a 3/6 god that costs 2 blue, red, white. When Odin enters the battlefield, search your library for Gungnir, Spear of Odin, and put it onto the battlefield. Tap to unattach an equipment from Odin the All Father. Deal damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to any target. So yeah, Odin, like Thor, gets you an equipment when it comes into play. Again, a specific equipment, you know, based on Norse mythology on what Odin's spear was named. The spear always hits true. Anyways, you tap to unattach any equipment from Odin, and Odin's gonna deal damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to any target. So you can take out creatures, you can take out players, again, depending on how big that equipment is. So this deck's looking to run, you know, ways to potentially untap Odin, so you can get this multiple times in a turn, ways to maybe freely attach equipment or attach them at a reduced cost or cheaper, and then yeah, basically just keep attaching things and throwing them at your opponents and their creatures as well. So yeah, definitely a kind of a different take on a Jeskai commander than we usually really see. But next up, though, let's move on to Hel, goddess of Hellheim, a 2/2 god that cost white and a black. Hel is the goddess of the underworld in Norse mythology, I believe. Whenever a creature dies, exile and put a fate counter on Hel, goddess of Hellheim. Remove all fate counters from Hel, goddess of Hellheim. For each 5 counters removed this way, return a creature card exiled with it to the battlefield under your control. So essentially, you're getting more and more fate counters on Hel with the more and more creatures that die. And then essentially, you can kind of cash those in when you need to, once, you know, in kind of multiples of 5. So if you've got 5, you get 1 creature back. If you've got 10, you get 2 creatures back, so on and so forth. So yeah, you can basically kind of utilize Hel as this kind of waiting resource to basically get your opponents or get your own best creatures back into play, you know, that you have exiled. Again, this is actually a really good card also just against graveyard synergy decks as well, because their creatures are not coming back unless they're coming back for you. So yeah, you're going to want to get Hel down early, and then yeah, basically protect Hel, so indestructibility, regeneration, things that can protect from board wipes, because the board wipe's going to be great for you, but it can also not be great for you if Hel is dealt with too. Next up, though, let's move on to Freya, the Goddess of War. A star 4 god that costs 1 green, white, blue. Freya, Goddess of War's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. When Freya, Goddess of War, attacks, creatures you control gain flying and indestructible until end of turn. I believe Freya is one of the Valkyries, or kind of the head of the Valkyries. And yeah, Freya is basically giving all of your creatures, flying and indestructible, kind of charging into battle with them, and also kind of is inspired by them, is, gaining power from them as well. Because again, the more creatures that you have in play, the bigger Freya is, or the harder she hits. So, yeah, basically you want to have a go-wide strategy with this kind of a deck, get more and more creatures into play, and basically, protect them through combat, help them get through, and, make Freya hit even harder. But now it's time for us to move on to Ymir Frost Giant Father, a 5/6 giant god that costs 3 blue, black, red. When Ymir Frost Giant Father deals combat damage to a player, tap all non-land permanents that player controls. Those permanents don't untap during their controller's next untap step. So yeah, and Ymir can be an incredibly brutal Grixis commander if you can get it through. Basically tapping down all of your opponent's things except for their lands until the next turn, until their next turn after their untap step. So yeah, they're going to be in trouble if Ymir gets through. So yeah, you basically, with this kind of a deck, would want to get ways to get Ymir through. Unblockability, flying, different kinds of evasion to get Ymir through, and yeah, really punish your opponents for letting Ymir hit you. So extra combat strategies could be really useful in this as well, to allow you to hit multiple opponents, yeah, and so on and so forth. So Ymir definitely could be a pretty brutal card, again, if you can get it through. Next up, though, let's move on to, and this is the one I'm definitely going to mispronounce out, Jormungandar. Let's go with that. Anyways, a 5/5 Serpent God with Menace that costs Wooburg. When it attacks, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature and to target player. So essentially, Menace can help get it through to protect it on the attack, but also if you pump its power, it's going to be dishing out more damage, not just through combat, but also through its pinging effect, pinging a creature as well as a player based on its power. So yeah, if you can get this thing up, it's going to be able to take out creatures, take out players. It can just dish out a lot of damage. And again, as a 5-color deck, you've got access to essentially to every single card in Commander, so you can dish out a lot of pain with this kind of a commander. And I probably should have noted that this is actually the World Serpent, and I believe a child of Loki, but please check me on that in the comments below for all you Norse mythology experts out there. Speaking of a child of Loki, I believe Fenrir is as well, and this is a giant wolf. A 7/5 wolf god that can't be countered, has haste and trample, and costs red, 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 green, green, green. When it deals combat damage to a player for the first time each turn, untap other creatures you control, and after this phase, there's additional combat phase. So yeah, Fenrir is basically just a big hitter that if you get it through and it's got that trample and you can get it down right away and it can't be countered, then you can get an extra combat. Again, this only works once, so basically you can't just keep hitting a player and getting more and more combats. So yeah, you get Fenrir through once, though, you're going to be able to untap all your creatures and swing through again. So yeah, this can definitely be a very combat-centric Gruul commander that is very aggressive. Finally, Radtasker, Yggdrasil's Messenger, a 1/1 scroll god that costs a green. This, I believe, is actually the scroll that is a messenger that goes back and forth on Yggdrasil, which is the world tree. Again, Norse mythology people, please check me in the comments below. Anyways, whenever a scroll you control deals combat damage to an opponent, create a 1/1 green scroll creature token. That might not really seem like a messenger type effect, and it actually might seem familiar if you saw my Tribes That Need a Commander episode. Yeah, this is basically, I think it's an exact copy-paste, essentially, because, yeah, I really just like the idea of a commander squirrel that is all about squirrels and making squirrels. You can get down early, you can start smacking, making more and more squirrels, and yeah, just things getting out of control pretty quickly because you get this down turn 1. So yeah, that's Radtasker. But yeah, that's all the Norse gods that I'm going to be covering today. There are definitely more out there. But yeah, in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on these cards are. What Norse god that I didn't mention or Norse character in mythology did I not mention that you'd like to see a card on? And yeah, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this episode. So, as always, thanks again and have a good one.